Are there any young people that would like to come up and help me with this part? I hope so, because if you don't, it won't work very well. Hey, you like music, don't you? Don't you? You don't have to come if you don't want to. Where'd all the high school age kids go? Oh yeah. Remember, there's subs today. There's tons of them because a lot of people that ordered them aren't here. So they'll even take IOUs if you want to pick some up, okay? Why do we sing songs in worship? Did you ever wonder? Do you ever wonder why we do anything in worship? Really? Why do we sing songs in worship? Not always. Yeah, we could. You know what? Animals, actually, some of them, they make noise when their little babies are cuddling with them, or if they're feeding them. Sometimes it sounds like they're purring or snorting, but that's a form of a lullaby. And as human beings developed, the first music they made was, what's this called? Like with a drum and things. That's called percussion. That's a form of music, and you know what they use that for? To communicate across long distances. But then, because they started singing, well, making noises to their little kids, they would make what we now call lullabies. Those are songs, aren't they? So why do you think we do that? There's something about music, you see, that kind of makes us feel certain ways. So we sing from the inside out. And that's why we use music in worship. But when we come for worship, what are we worshiping? Jesus. And what we know as God. Huh? So the words we use in our songs are about Jesus and about God and about being faithful. Does that make sense? Do you understand that? Okay. Well, you know what we call them? What do we call those songs in our worship? Hymns. Can you spell hymn? It's like hymn. H-Y-M-N. So that's what we have. That's why we do this. Now, did you ever pay attention to things you were singing in worship? Like, do you know words to any songs? You don't? Uh-oh. Well, let me ask you this. Do you know words to the Lord's Prayer? And do we say that in worship sometimes? So you know what you're doing then, huh? Well, you know what a hymn actually is? You ready for this? You ready to learn something? Okay. A hymn is a prayer set to music. What do you think about that? So that means we're talking to God or Jesus, and sometimes even to each other we're talking about our faith, a prayer set to music. Through many, many years now, people have written hymns of all sorts about things that were important to them and their faith. Now, did you know that hundreds of years ago, that persons who had black skin were slaves? Did you know that? That meant that they had to work for free for other people, that other people actually owned them. That was awful. And so some slaves, they liked to try to escape and become free. Do you understand that? Well, they hoped that Jesus would be looking over them. And they remembered some of the stories from like the Old Testament about when the Israelites became freed from Egypt. Now, do you remember a story about Moses leading Israel through the Red Sea? Don't you remember about the waters parted? Now you're going to start remembering this, I think. The waters parted, and they were able to walk right across on dry land. Now you remember that? and get to the other side, and then the water went all back and the Egyptians couldn't get them. Remember that story now? About how, and they believed that God had made that happen so that the Red Sea waters parted. Now, when the slaves got away and tried to escape from their owners, sometimes, in fact, all times, there would eventually be a river they had to get across. And some of the people that were helping them get away had to find ways to get across the river. And sometimes the only way they could do it would be to walk all the way into it till their head was underwater. Then they'd have to swim and get across. But they'd have to be able to get across and walk out the other side. Now, what's it called when you walk into water? What are you doing? No, you aren't swimming yet. It's when you, like if you only get up to your knees or so in the water, what are you doing? You know the word wade? Wade in the water? Did you ever wade in water? I'll bet you did. Well, the slaves sometimes sang this song with each other because they believed that Jesus and God would help them across, wade in the water. And it talked about that. So they sang that for worship. Now, who's the song singing to? Jesus and God. So they sang this while they were trying to get across these rivers to become free. And we still have that song. So come here with me, if you will. We're going to turn and look up at the wall here. Now, Ken back there see him back there? See the shiny top of his head? You see Ken? He's going to turn the lights out here. Now, everybody else can see this too pretty soon. Yeah, now we can see that. Now, how about the lights here? Can we do those? Well, just do it in the wall back there. Whoops, I can't stand there, can I? Now, can you see, how many of you can read already? Can you read? Okay, we're going to read these words together. Now, look up there. See the first words up there? It says, wade in the water. Can you say that? Wade in the water. Then the second line says, wade in the water, children. Let's say that. Wade in the water, children. Then the next line down, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Let's say that again. God's gonna trouble the water. Okay, now, can you give me just the first note, Nancy? Wade. Okay, let's see how long we can sing that. You're laughing anyway. You stop. Let's take a big breath. You're giggling now. That's why we stand up to sing. Did you know that? Because when we stand up, we get more breath than if we're sitting down. So why don't we ask everybody out there to stand up? Would you ask them to do that? That was nice. He even said, please. I just turn around and say, stand. Now, we're all going to sing this, but let's remember that we're offering this. And so for those of us who think, oh, it's another song, I'll just have to stand up and live through that, don't think of that. If you can't sing, say the words. And remember what this means. People who were slaves believed that Jesus and God were going to enable them to get away and be free. So when we sing this, remember that. Okay, Nancy, give us a little intro. That's a pretty neat song. The water. Okay, here we go. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children. Wade in the water. gonna trouble the water. Must be the children that Moses led. God's gonna trouble the water. Okay, here we go. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children. Wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Here we go. Who's that yonder dressed in white? God's gonna trouble the water. Must be the children of the Israelites. God's gonna trouble the water. Here we go. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children. Wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Who's that yonder dressed in blue? God's gonna trouble the water. Must be the children, I'll let them through. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children. Wade in the water, 'cause God's gonna trouble the water. What do you think? You like that song? Is it better now that you know what it means? Because that's what we can look forward to, always with the way of Christ and with the power of the Holy Spirit, that we can get through life and be free and be happy. So that's what our hymns are. It's like a prayer set to music. So next time we do it together, we can pay attention, huh? Thank you very much. You can go back to where you're sitting now. For some Sundays now, we're going to have persons who speak to us about, for them, their hopes for new beginnings for the church. Maybe not just exactly this church, but sometimes for the church, the capital C church. But Allie is going to do that for us today. So Allie, can you come forward and give us your thoughts? Now, would you rather have her go up to the mic, Ken? Which would you rather do? Go up there? Well, make up your mind. You can use that. Okay. Remember, you have to hold that one kind of close to your mouth. Okay? Allie volunteered to do this, so.
I was kind of guilted into it.
It worked.
It did. Okay. My name is Ali, and I'm here to say that the church needs more cultural diversity. The people from all backgrounds, black, white, maybe some brown, coming together to tear injustice down. We need a church that lifts people up, no matter their circumstances, no matter who they want to be, no matter who they love, no matter who they call family. My vision for this church is a place where we don't just talk the talk, but we explore the unknown, look for understanding, live like Jesus lived. We must walk the walk, get up, move around, leave these four walls. We have to do something. We know this deep down. My vision for this church is that we don't just say that the youth doesn't do this, and those people don't do that. But instead, we must rise up and not put each other down, do work together, stand up for one another, find the real Jesus together, not the one on the cross, the unattainable, but the one in the crowds of the people, the one sitting with the lost and the broken people. That's where we need to be, comforting, helping, being with those people, all those, the black and the brown, the red, the white, all those questioning gay or straight, strong, weak, old, young. We must be that spark, ignite the fire. My vision for this church is for us to love the people of the world, love for love's sake. Allie, do not throw that away. Okay, good.